What's up, y'all? Welcome back to ZayMoolaSportsPodcast. I'm your host, Isaiah. Y'all, tonight I'm here to recap all the game one, the WNBA playoff games that took place on yesterday. So without further ado, man, let's get straight into it, y'all. All right, let's start with the New York Liberty versus the Atlanta Dream, y'all. The Liberty defeated my Atlanta Dream 83 to 69, y'all. And man, Leonie Fever, she was very, very, very huge for the New York Liberty on yesterday. She got the start instead of Courtney Vandersloot. The reason that Sandy Brandella did that, y'all, is because she wanted to get a little bit more size on the perimeter, to guard Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray, because we know Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray, they are two dynamic wing scorers, and so that's why she decided to put Phoebus in, and she did her job, man. We already know Phoebus; she's a really good 3-and-D player, y'all. But yesterday she had 21 points. She played some really good defense on Ryan, man. Made life kind of difficult for her. So she was phenomenal. Stewie, we know Stewie is one of the best players in the league. I think the second best player in the league, man. She had 20 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. So she stuffed the stat box, y'all. And then Sabrina, she had 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. I mean, the New York Liberty, they look like a championship team, right? And we know they are definitely one of the teams that are contending for a championship, y'all. I mean, they made life very difficult for the Atlanta Dream as a team. The Dream, we only shot about 38% from the floor, man. We shot 18% from three, and that's not going to get it done, right? And we have 14 turnovers. That's just not going to get it done. When you're going against a team like New York Liberty that is just so dominant on both ends of the court, y'all. So for the Atlanta Dream, I'm just happy that we're in the playoffs. I definitely did not expect us to win this series. Tomorrow night we're gonna be going against the New York Liberty. I think they are going to win that game, y'all, in dominated fashion, and we're gonna be out of the playoffs. But again, I'm just glad we're in the playoffs because we had not made the playoffs since 2018. But yeah, the New York Liberty, again, they like a championship team, man. And the thing I really like about the New York Liberty, y'all, is that they are a much improved defensive team because last year that was their Achilles heel, right? They weren't a horrible defensive team, but they were an average defensive team. And now this year, y'all, they are a really good defensive team. You talk about having Stewie, now Fevers. This is her first year. She's a rookie. You have Kayla Thornton, y'all, on the wing as well. That's a really good defender. I mean, the Liberty just have a lot of good defenders on their team. And Courtney Vandersloot, she's not a bad defender either. I think people kind of underrate Courtney Vandersloot in terms of her defensive ability, but she's not a bad defender by any stretch of the means. So, again, is what I expected from the New York Liberty, man. They came out, y'all, on fire. They had 29 points in the first quarter. Then they kind of slowed off in the second quarter. They only had 19 points, but really that first quarter set the tone for the entire game, right? We knew that the New York Liberty coming into this series, they were the prohibited favorites, and they showed why they were the prohibited favorites on yesterday. And so for the Atlanta Dream, if we want any shot of pulling off a major upset, man, we got to start making shots, right? But we also have to generate, better looks for our two players, our two main players, Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard, and even Tina Charles. I know Tina Charles is in the advanced stage on her career, but we got to get them more open looks too, right? Because again, the New York Liberty have a lot of good perimeter defenders, but yeah, the New York Liberty, they took care of business, y'all, and I have them winning game two and sending the Atlanta Dream home. All right, y'all. Next up, man. The Connecticut Sun, y'all, they defeated the Indiana Fever 93 to 69. And this game was an absolute blowout, man. Literally from the tip, y'all. I mean, I could tell the way the Indiana Fever came out, man. They just came out so flat offensively. And the Fever, man, they have one of the best offensive teams in the entire WNBA, but they just couldn't get anything going. And we had to give a big shout out though to the Connecticut Sun defense, man. The Sun, I mean, are a very, very, very great defensive team. Y'all, they're very physical, man. They make life, very hard for their opponent. And the Fever were not able to get open looks from three. We know the Indiana Fever, they're one of the best 3-point shoot teams in the league as well. They weren't able to get any open looks from three. That was due to the defense that, Alyssa Thomas and DeWanda Bonner and a little bit of Dejanay Carrington as well, the way they were playing on the defensive end, y'all. But really, to me, this game was about Marina Mabry, y'all. Let me show my face because, I mean, Marina Mabry was huge in this game. She had 27 points off the bench. And I remember I came on here and I talked about when the Chicago Sky traded her to the Connecticut Sun. I said, man, that changed the entire landscape of the WNBA because it gave the Connecticut Sun a legitimate shot of winning WNBA championship. I feel like before then, the Sun were a good team, y'all, but the problem with the Sun is they didn't have, that shot maker at that guard position that you really need to win the WNBA championship. And once they brought in Marina Mabry, I felt, a lot better about their chances to win that WNBA championship. And we saw it on yesterday, y'all. Not only is Marina Mabry an elite 3-point shooter, but she's a shot creator, right? She can generate generate shots for herself and for her teammates. She can move without the ball. And yesterday, man, she put all those things on display, man. Again, 27 points off the bench, mind you, y'all. Remember, Marina Mabry's not starting. 27 points off the bench, man. She was huge, y'all. And really, when you have her shot creating and 3-point shooting ability on the floor with Alyssa Thomas and the Wanda Bonner and Bree Jones, I mean, it makes life very difficult for your opponent because they have to figure out, okay, do we want to clog the paint to try to stop the Wanda Bonner and Alyssa Thomas and Bree Jones? Because if we do that, that's going to slow them down. But then we're going to leave Marina Mabry open. Or do we want to really guard the perimeter very tightly so that way Marina Mabry is not able to kill us from three? But then we're going to leave the paint wide open, man. So we really saw yesterday, man. And now that Marina Mabry is on the Connecticut Sun, I mean, they really have a shot of winning this thing, y'all, because we already know they were a great defensive team, and adding her, it made them so much more competitive on the offensive end, man. Alyssa Thomas also had a triple double. She had 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 13 assists. It was just a great, great all around game from the Connecticut Sun. For the Indiana Fever, y'all, they have to be more physical. They're going against probably the toughest team in the WNBA, right? And when you're going against a team like the Connecticut Sun, man, you have to be able to really, kind of punch them in their face as well. In terms of, when I say punch them in their face, I'm not meaning literally. I'm just meaning being more physical with them, right? I feel like at times, maybe it's because the Indiana Fever are a very young team, but I feel like at times, y'all, they kind of got scared. I know the Indiana Fever, they have not made the playoffs since 2016. So, and again, they have a lot of young players. Maybe that's why, but you can tell the nerves really got to them. And then that second half, y'all, I mean, the Sun just blew that game open again. It was really a blowout literally from the tip. I mean, you could just tell the way the Sun came out, they had that look on their eyes. Right, they were like, we're not going to take the Indiana Fever lightly at all. We're going to come out here. We're going to dominate them. We're going to show them why we've been one of the best teams in the WNBA for the last 5 seasons. And that's what they did on yesterday, man. Y'all, I think the Connecticut Sun are going to end this series. I think they play on Wednesday. I think they're going to end it. The Indiana Fever, man, this has been an amazing season, y'all. Don't get me wrong. This has been an amazing season for them, right? Amazing season. But unfortunately for the Indiana Fever, I think their season is going to end very, very soon, y'all, because they just don't have the defense and the physicality, right, to go up against a team like the Connecticut Sun, right? Once they get that kind of mindset with them, which they might have it, as soon as next year, then I think the Indiana Fever could really be a championship team. Right now, y'all, they're just I'll say a kind of above average team at best, but they have to get better defensively. And just now is not their time, to really be a contender in the WNBA and going against a team like the Connecticut Sun that they're trying to win their first championship, in team history, y'all. Because the Connecticut Sun are on a mission right now, and they look every bit of a championship contender that we thought they would be. All right, y'all. Next up, we had the Minnesota Lynx. They defeated the Phoenix Mercury, y'all, 102-95, man. And Nafisa Collier, oh my gosh. She looked like the best player in the league yesterday. She really did, man. She had 23 points in the first half. She finished the game with 38 points, 6 rebounds, man. She shot 57% from the floor and 60% from three. And she shot 92% from the free throw line. I mean, she was so efficient. She did her thing defensively, y'all. The Phoenix Mercury had a ton of problems guarding her, but not just her, y'all. Kevin McBride had 20 points. Bridget Carlton had 12 points. Maisha Hines Allen had 10 points. Courtney Williams had 9 points. And I did a video last week, y'all, speaking about the Minnesota Lynx and about how much depth they have on this team. We saw their depth really come into play yesterday, because the Minnesota Lynx just have so many players that you have to worry about on both ends of the floor, that it can make things very tough on you as a team, even if you're a solid team like the Phoenix Mercury are, y'all. The Mercury, they're not a very good defensive team. Throughout the regular season, they had so many problems guarding the Minnesota Lynx, and we saw it on yesterday. Y'all, this was a 23-point game at one point. Now, the Phoenix Mercury, because they have, a lot of really good offensive players, they were able to come back in this game. At one point, they had cut the lead all the way down, I think, to 1. But because they were not able to get enough stops, y'all, in the end, the Minnesota Lynx were able to prevail and win this game. And I think for the Phoenix Mercury, the only chance they have winning this series, y'all, is playing defense, because they can score, right? They can score. They had 95 points yesterday. Tasha, man, she had 33 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists. DT had 21 points, and Kalia Copper, she had 16 points. But I mean, their defense was horrible, man. They allowed the Minnesota Lynx to shoot 49% from the floor and 42% from three. That's not going to get it done. It's not going to cut it. And so for the Phoenix Mercury, y'all, again, any chance they have win this series, they have to play better defensively. They have to. And I don't see that happening because again, during the regular season, they had so many problems guarding this Minnesota Lynx team. Why? Because the Minnesota Lynx just have so many skilled offensive players on this team and a bunch of 3-point shooters. Right? It's not just Nafisa Collier and Caleb McBride, it's Courtney Williams, it's Maisha Hines Allen, it's Bridget Carter, it's Dorka Uhas. This team is deep, y'all. And that's why I think the Minnesota Lynx are probably even scarier than the Aces. Y'all think they're the scariest team in the WNBA because all the depth that they have on this team, all the players that you really have to focus on. No other team in the WNBA has this. And I think I said this last when I was doing my Lynx video. I think the Aces and Liberty have more talent, top end talent than the Minnesota Lynx do, y'all. But they definitely don't have the depth that the Minnesota Lynx have. And I really felt like that this was going to really, be an advantage that the Lynx had is because they have so many quality players that can play for them on a game in and game out basis. You saw it on yesterday. Again, great comeback by the Phoenix Mercury, but in the end, y'all, they couldn't get enough stops to win this game. And I don't see them being able to generate enough stops, in game two. So I do have the Minnesota Lynx winning game two, y'all. I do think that DT is going to come out and probably shoot the ball early and often. This that could be potentially her last game. So I think if it is going to be DT's last game, I know she's going to come out swinging because that's just the kind of player that she's been for her entire career, y'all. But I think in the end, though, the Minnesota Lynx are going to win game two and they're going to send the Phoenix Mercury home, y'all. And then last but certainly not least, man, we had the defending champs, y'all, the Las Vegas Aces. They defeated the Seattle Storm 78 to 67, y'all. This game was very, very, very weird. Because I felt like the Las Vegas Aces had full control of this game for the entire game. But for whatever reason, y'all, going into the fourth quarter, they were only up, which is very weird to me, but they were only up by 8 points. Again, and it felt like they dominated more than they did, though. Like, honestly, when you look at it, it felt like they really, really dominated the Storm, but the Storm kept hanging around. But then in the fourth quarter, y'all, this is when the Storm, I probably never, ever, ever seen anything like this for in my life. The Seattle Storm had probably the worst fourth quarter I've ever seen a team have, y'all, in terms of basketball, right? Professional basketball. They only had 2 points. 2 points, y'all, in the entire fourth quarter. 2 points. And it came out free throws. They went 0 of 12. Oh, look at my hand, y'all. They shot 0 of 12 from the floor in the fourth quarter. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I really couldn't. And I was listening to Noelle Quinn on yesterday when she was giving her post-game press conference. And she was saying she felt like the Storm were getting good looks, but that their legs were tired and they didn't have anything else left to give. Y'all, it's the playoffs, man. You really cannot afford to get tired. Okay? Especially now when you're going against a team like the Las Vegas Aces that love to run up and down that court. You cannot be gassed. But when you watch them in the fourth quarter, I was like, yeah, she's right. They did look gassed. They did. The problem with the Seattle Storm is, y'all, the Seattle Storm, they are a jump shooting team. And when you're a team that is a jump shooter team, like the way they are, your legs are going to get tired quicker than your opponent. Because while you're spending so much energy, every time you're jumping, shooting the ball, just keep doing that constantly over and over again for the entire game. They don't really have, the Seattle Storm don't attack the basket the way they should. Obviously, Skylar Diggins Smith, Jewel Lloyd, Neko Gumake, obviously, especially really Neko Gumake, they attack the basket, right? They can finish around the basket. But Skylar Diggins Smith and Jewel Lloyd, they're really like jump shooters, right? Gabby Williams, she's a jump shooter. And the Storm, y'all, they live and die by what? By the jump shots. And in the fourth quarter, y'all, didn't work out for them. They died by those jump shots. Sometimes it's worked out. I mean, we've seen games where the Seattle Storm put like 101 points. But then we also seen games like we seen last night, right, where down the stretch, they're unable to generate offense. You're like, how's this team unable to generate offense? They got Skylar Diggins Smith and Jewel Lloyd and Neko Gumake. Well, it's because they're relying, y'all, on jump shots to win them games. And when you're going against a team like the Aces, that the last 10 games, y'all, the regular season, the Aces were probably the best defensive team in the league. Again, only the last 10 games. I'm not saying the entire season, but the last 10 games of the regular season, the Aces were probably the best defensive team in the WNBA. Right? Their opponents were only averaging like 73.7 points per game against them, which is like really elite, especially if you consider the struggles that the Aces had early on in the season defensively. So the Aces are a much improved defensive team, and you're talking about a team, the Seattle Storm, y'all, that's not really trying to attack the basket, and you have to do that. Okay, you have to do that, but they didn't do that. Fourth quarter, y'all, they just kept settling for jump shots, and they only put up 2 points. 2 points. Unbelievable. Now let me get to the Las Vegas Aces, man. First off, shout out to A'ja Wilson, y'all, for winning her third MVP. Only the second player in WNBA history to win it unanimously, excuse me. So that was great to see. Yeah, let's clap for that. But y'all, Tiffany Hayes was huge yesterday, man. She had 20 points off the bench. Remember, I was talking earlier about Marina Mabrey coming off the bench and providing the Sun with 27 points. Well, Tiffany Hayes, y'all, she came off that bench, man, and she was ready to play. And this is exactly why the Las Vegas Aces convinced Tiffany Hayes to come out of retirement. It's because they wanted her for moments like this. Y'all, Tiffany Hayes has never won the WNBA championship, right? She's 35 years old. She never won a WNBA championship. And she came out of retirement. And she didn't just come out of retirement, excuse me, to join any team, y'all, to join like the Washington Mystics. No, she came out of retirement to join a team in the Las Vegas Aces that would give her a legitimate chance of winning her first WNBA championship. And y'all, you saw it on last night, man. Tiffany Hayes looks very hungry. She looks very determined. Man, I've been watching Tiffany Hayes, y'all, going way back to her UConn days. Because she is a very, very talented player, man. Left hand player. She's a really good all around player. Obviously, she's not the player that she was in her, early days, but she's still a very productive player. She's been shooting lights out from the 3-point line. I thought she played some really good defense, man, on Skylar Diggins Smith and Jewel Lloyd on yesterday, really trying to make life as difficult as she could, excuse me, for them. So I was very impressed by her performance, man. We know A'ja did her thing. She had 21 points, 8 rebounds. I know A'ja was a little upset in her post-game press conference because she felt like she could have played better. That's what players like A'ja do. They always going to critique themselves. They're always going to be their biggest, critic, y'all. I'm like, A'ja, you had a very dominant game. You had 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 blocks, but she felt like she could have done more on the defensive end for her team. Again, we know how great players are. They hold themselves to a very high standard. But for the Las Vegas Aces, y'all, I think this is not even the best they could have played, though, honestly. Like, I've seen the Aces play a whole lot better than this. I think for the Seattle Storm, that really, really should put a lot of fear in your souls, right? If you're sitting and looking, I mean, y'all, let's just look at it. The Aces, they were solid offensively yesterday. I mean, they shot 43% from the floor, which for them is pretty low. 38% from three, that's pretty good. But even for their standards, it's like, yeah, it's not great, but excuse me, it's not bad, but it's not great for the Aces standards. But they were able to rely on their defense, y'all. I mean, the Seattle Storm only had 67 points. Think about all the firepower that the Storm have offensively, and the Aces held them to 6, 7 points. Again, told y'all a few minutes ago, the Aces have really, 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 really been playing some lockdown defense the last couple of weeks of the season. Now it's kind of moved over into the postseason, and they continue the great success that they've had defensively recently. And so, I love where the Aces are right now. Again, they can play much better. This should have probably been like a 20-25 point win. Becky Hammond, she kind of even alluded to that in her post game press conference. She said we kind of came out slow, but in the fourth quarter, they were able to rely on their defense, y'all, and they won this game. I do think the Las Vegas Aces are going to win game 2 and send the Seattle Storm home. Listen, I like Seattle Storm, man. I really like their head coach, Noelle Quinn. I think she's going to win the championship one day, but I don't think it's right now, man. I mean, the Aces, y'all, they are very determined right now. A'ja just won her third, MVP, but she also wants to win her third WNBA championship. I know Jackie Young, y'all, she had a nice game. Kelsey Plum, She kind of had her struggles, but one thing about KP, man, KP always gonna give you incredible effort, even when her shot isn't falling. She's always gonna give you great effort, and she's a great leader. She was still cheering her teammates on. You see some players when they're struggling, they're still at the end of the bitch. They got their head like this. They won't cheer their teammates on, right? But she was still cheering her teammates on, still coaching them up. So you love to see that. Chelsea Gray, Chelsea Gray started to look like herself. Remember early on in the season when she came back from that knee injury, a lot of people like, what's going on with Chelsea Gray? And I was like, just give her a little time to come back. Because when Chelsea Gray, is playing at her level, I mean, we know she's one of the best point guards in WNBA history, y'all. But again, I know the Las Vegas Aces, they played final yesterday. They played really well defensively. They played, okay offensively. And they can play much better. And I do think they're gonna play much better, y'all. I think they're gonna blow out the Storm, like seriously. And I don't think it's gonna be because the Storm are just going to like give up. But I just think the Aces are going to come out really firing on all cylinders. They're at home, y'all. We know the Aces. I feel like they have the best home court advantage in the WNBA. But I think the New York Liberty have the second best home court advantage. But again, I think the Las Vegas Aces have the best home court advantage in the league. I think they're going to use that to their advantage. I think their defense is going to continue to suffocate the Seattle Storm. And I like the Las Vegas Aces to beat the Seattle Storm, y'all, in game two and move on to the next round. So, y'all, I have the Minnesota Lynx defeating the Phoenix Mercury. I have the Las Vegas Aces defeating the Seattle Storm. I have the New York Liberty defeating the Atlanta Dream. And I have the Connecticut Sun defeating the Indiana Fever. So, y'all, right now, y'all see my predictions. I don't have any team that lost yesterday winning on Tuesday or Wednesday. Sorry, I think y'all going home. Y'all not extending the series to a third game. I think y'all are going home. Man, but there I have it. That was me recapping all of the game one WNBA playoff games that took place on yesterday. Remember, y'all, left is good medicine. So what? Make sure you get your daily dose. Y'all know I'm an enemy, man. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.